Thank you so much. Okay, good morning. The time is 10:11, and I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting of the Commission on State Mandates to order. Welcome to our hybrid meeting. For those participating in person, I have some housekeeping information. On the table at the back of the room are paper copies of the meeting's notice, agenda. Sorry. Let me start that over. On the table at the back of the room are paper copies of the meeting's notice, agenda, new filings, revised new filings for December 2025, proposed consent calendar, and witness list. The electronic public hearing binder is also located there on a laptop. Please note that the room is microphoned, so speakers and microphones on all devices must stay muted for the duration of the meeting to eliminate any feedback noise. When called up for an item, the parties and witnesses will come to the table and sit at a designated laptop. The restrooms are located out the entrance door and through the door on the left. The men's restroom is located on the right, and the women's restroom is at the end of the hall to the right. Finally, please take note of the emergency exits in the room. In the event of an emergency, please exit the door to my left, turn left, and go down the stairs. For those participating remotely, the materials for today's meeting, including the notice, agenda, new filings, revised new filings for December 2025, proposed consent calendar, and witness list are all available on the Commission's website at www.csm.ca.gov under the Hearings tab. When being sworn in at the beginning of the hearing and when called for an item, the parties and witnesses will please turn on their video and unmute their microphone. At the conclusion of the item, please turn off the video and mute the microphone. In the event we experience technical difficulties for the meeting, or the meeting is bumped offline, we will restart and allow time for people to rejoin before recommencing the meeting. If we are unable to restart, a notice will be posted on the Commission's website listing the items to be heard at the next meeting. Please remember to speak slowly and accurately for the benefit of the court reporter and an accurate transcript of the hearing. With that, Juliana, will you please call the roll?
Member Nash notified Commission staff that she would be resigning from the Commission effective May 1, 2026. We anticipate hearing from the Governor's office regarding her replacement soon. Mr. Adams.
Here.
Ms. Gallegos. Here. Ms. Green-Ross. Here. Mr. Polland. Ms. Peralt.
Present.
Mr. Powell.
Present.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Okay, we will go ahead now then and move on to item number 1. Are there any objections to or additional corrections of the February 13th, 2026 minutes? Seeing none, are there any public comments on this item?
Madam Chair, I see no public comments.
Thank you so much. Any other additional questions from the members? Okay. With no further discussion, is there a motion to adopt the minutes from February 13th, 2026? Moved by Ms. Gallegos. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Seconded by Mr. Powell. If we could please have a roll call.
Mr. Adams.
Aye.
Ms. Gallegos. Ms. Green-Ross. Mr. Polland.
Same.
Ms. Peralt.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Thank you so much. That motion carries. We will now go ahead and take up any public comment for matters that are not on the agenda.
Please note that the Commission may not take actions on items that are not on the agenda. However, it may schedule issues raised by the public for consideration at future meetings. We invite the public to comment on the matters that are on the agenda as they are taken up.
Thank you so much. Are there any public comment for items not on the agenda today? I see none in the room. Are there any online?
Madam Chair, I see no public comment.
Okay, great. We'll go ahead then and move to our next item.
Next is the proposed consent calendar. Item 9 is proposed for consent.
Thank you so much. Are there any objections to the proposed consent calendar from members or from members of the board or the commission? Okay. Seeing none, are there any objections from members of the public on the consent calendar?
Madam Chair, I see no public comment.
I see none in the room either. So is there a motion to adopt the proposed consent calendar?
I'll move to adopt the proposed consent calendar.
Okay, thank you. Moved by Mr. Powell. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Green Ross. If we could please have a roll call.
Mr. Adams,
Aye.
Ms. Gallegos, Ms. Green Ross, Mr. Polland, Ms. Peralt,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
All right, thank you so much. That motion carries. We'll move on now to our next order of business.
Let's move to the swearing in. Will the parties and witnesses for items 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 participating remotely, please be sure that both your first and last names are listed on your Zoom window for the benefit of the court reporter. Turn on your video and unmute your microphone. And the parties and witnesses participating in person, please approach the witness table, and all parties and witnesses, please rise. Beginning with items 2 and 5. We were notified by the claimant, the County of Santa Clara, and by the Department of Finance that they would not be appearing on these 2 items. Would anyone like to make an appearance on items 2 or item 5? On item 3, on behalf of the claimant, the County of Sacramento, participating in person, please state your name for the record.
Chad Rindy, County of Sacramento.
On behalf of the Department of Finance, participating remotely, please state your name for the record.
Haley Yap with the Department of Finance.
Item 4. We were notified by the Department of Finance that they would not be appearing on this item. On behalf of the claimant, the County of Los Angeles, participating remotely, please state your names for the record.
Good morning. My name is Fernando Lemos, County of Los Angeles.
Good morning, Tiffany Walston, County of Los Angeles.
On behalf of the requester, item 6, on behalf of the requester, State Controller's Office, participating remotely, please state your name for the record.
Errol Moore, on behalf of the State Controller's Office.
Item 7, on behalf of the claimant, County of Sacramento, participating in person, please state your name for the record.
Chad Rindy, County of Sacramento.
And now, for the State Controller's Office, participating remotely, please state your name for the record.
Ken Howell, State Controller's Office.
For item 8, we have not been made aware of any parties that are witnesses that are appearing on item 8. Would anyone like to make an appearance on item 8? Thank you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony which you are about to give is true and correct based on your personal knowledge, information, or belief?
I do.
Yes.
I do.
Thank you. We now ask presenters for items 3, 4, 6, and 7 participating remotely to please turn off their video and mute their microphones, and those participating in person to please return to your seats. Next is item 2. Senior Commission Counsel Laura Doherty will please present a proposed decision on request for reconsideration of an adopted decision 25 RAD 01, Child Physical Abuse and Neglect Exams 24 TC 05.
Good morning. This proposed decision addresses a request for reconsideration of an adopted decision entitled Child Physical Abuse and Neglect Exams 24 TC 05. At the Commission's last hearing, it partially approved the test claim, finding that Penal Code Section 11171F mandated a new program or higher level of service under Article 13B, Section 6C of the California Constitution by imposing increased costs for child abuse and neglect exams when the child is eligible for Medi-Cal or Victim Compensation Board coverage, costs which were previously paid by the state. The Commission denied reimbursement when the cost of the exam was previously covered by the victim or the victim's private insurance because the test claim statute does not require counties to perform any new activities. The Commission's regulations allow a limited reconsideration of a prior decision only upon a showing of new or different facts, circumstances, or law, or a clerical error. A request for reconsideration cannot be based on allegations that the decision is legally incorrect or contains a mistake of law. 5 affirmative votes are required to grant the request for reconsideration and schedule the request for a second hearing on the merits. Staff finds that the request for reconsideration here does not meet the Commission's regulatory standards for reconsideration because it presents no new facts, new circumstances, new law, nor clerical error. Staff therefore recommends that the Commission adopt the proposed decision denying the request for reconsideration and authorize staff to make any technical, non-substantive changes following the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I believe we were notified that there would be no parties or witnesses to item 2, but before we move forward with any action by the commission, I just want to make sure that are there any parties and witnesses that would like to state their names for the record for item 2? Okay, seeing none, are there any public comments on this item?
Madam Chair, I see no public comment.
Okay, and there are none in the room. So with that, are there any comments or questions from the commission on this item? Okay, seeing none. Without any further discussion, is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation for item 2?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Pollan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Powell. If we could please have a roll call.
Mr. Adams.
Aye.
Ms. Gallegos.
Aye.
Ms. Green Ross. Mr. Polland.
Aye.
Ms. Peralt.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Great, thank you. That motion carries. We'll now move on to our next item.
Next is item 3. We now ask presenters participating remotely for item 3 to please turn on their video and unmute their microphones. And those participating in person to please come to the table. Chief Legal Counsel Camille Shelton will please present a proposed decision on emergency shelters, persons with pets, 24 TC 06.
Good morning. This test claim alleges new state mandated activities and costs arising from Government Code Section 8593.10, which requires updates to county and city emergency plans to address emergency sheltering accommodations for persons with pets, to designate at least one emergency shelter and, to the extent practicable, one warming and cooling center to accommodate persons with pets, and to provide public information and notices about accommodating persons with pets during emergencies. As explained in the proposed decision, staff recommends that the commission partially approve this test claim. As a reimbursable state mandated program beginning January 1st, 2024 for the 2 public information and notice activities mandated by Government Code Section 8593.10, subdivision C and D. However, the required activities to update the plans to designate emergency shelters and to the extent practicable, designate warming and cooling centers to accommodate persons with pets during emergencies do not mandate a new program or higher level of service on counties and cities, either because the activities are not new or do not impose a state mandated program. Staff recommends that the commission adopt the proposed decision to partially approve this test claim and authorize staff to make any technical, non-substantive changes to the proposed decision following the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Excuse me. We'll now go ahead and move to our parties and witnesses. If our parties and witnesses would please state your name for the record. Mr. Rindy, I hope I pronounced that correctly. For the claimant, County of Sacramento, would you like to begin?
Yes. Thank you, commissioners, and good morning. Sacramento County appreciates your work that went into the proposed decision. I'd like to highlight a few areas of the decision for the commission's consideration. First, on emergency plans, in our test claim, we want to emphasize that the California Department of Finance's analysis previously on SB 2778, adding Government Code 8610 and 1990, noticed that cities and counties with disaster councils do not have choice to update emergency plans to incorporate new state law requirements. The draft decision concludes that counties already had to plan for shelters accommodating people with pets. However, the 2006 Pets Act and the FEMA 2010 Preparedness Guide, cited as the basis, only applies to state and federally declared disasters. It does not address local warming and cooling events. AB 781 creates new requirements compelling counties to update plans for these additional event types, and specifically include provisions for people with pets. Sacramento County, as shown in our claim, did in fact incur additional costs to update our plans for this purpose, and I'd hope that the commission will find that as reimbursable. Second, on sheltering, the draft decision interprets to the extent practicable as pet-friendly cooling and warming centers being optional, We understand your position, but we disagree. More importantly, we feel that there's no similar off-ramp in the law, as it does not contain the language to extent practicable for emergency shelters. This represents a new state reimbursable mandate, and I hope the Commission would review that and amend your proposed draft decision. Third, on communication costs, what you call public information costs, we agree with the draft decision's conclusion that there are heightened communication requirements associated with AB 781. In closing, I respectfully ask the Commission to reconsider its draft proposed decision on emergency planning costs and sheltering costs and find these components to include new reimbursable mandated activities.
Thank you so much. Let me go ahead now and turn to Ms. Yap from the Department of Finance. Ms. Yap, do you have any comments?
Hi, Kaylee Yap, Department of Finance. I have no comments on this matter at this time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before I move to the Commission, does staff have any other additional comments?
Just to address the comments that were raised by Mr. Rind, the FEMA guidelines were made required by the local emergency plans as a result of a statute that was enacted in 2021, which required the counties to comply with best practices of Cal OES. One of the best practices from Cal OES that they're required to comply with for all emergency plans is FEMA's guidelines. So they were required by prior law to comply with those guidelines. Those guidelines, as explained in the decision, completely cover all sheltering for persons with pets, include topics such as sheltering, veterinary care, transportation, all of the issues that were raised in the county's claim. So those activities are just simply not new. The warming and cooling center, the language of the statute just says to the extent practicable to provide an accommodation for persons with pets at those centers. A couple of issues. One, the courts have interpreted that language as meaning should and not shall, so there's really no state mandated program. And secondly, one of Cal OES's best practices for cooling and warming centers is to accommodate persons with pets, and that was enacted before this test claim statute, so it's also not new. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, let me bring it back to the Commission. Do Commission members have any comments or questions? Okay, seeing none. Are there any other general public comments on this item? Seeing none in the room. Are there any online?
Madam Chair, I see no public comment.
Okay, so let me go ahead then and bring it back to the Commission, and staff recommends that the Commission adopt the proposed decision, which partially approves the test claim, as a reminder. So is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation or otherwise? Or are there further discussion?
I'll move to adopt staff recommendation.
Okay, moved by Mr. Paulin. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Ms. Gallegos. If we could please have a roll call.
Mr. Adams.
Aye.
Ms. Gallegos.
Aye.
Ms. Green Ross. Mr. Pauland.
Aye.
Ms. Peralt.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
All right, thank you so much. That motion carries, and thank you for being here today. We'll now move on to our next item.
We now ask the presenters participating remotely for item 3 to please turn off their video and mute their microphones. Those participating in person to return to their seats. Next is item 4. We now ask the presenters participating remotely for item 4 to please turn on their video and unmute their microphones. Senior Commission Counsel Laura Doherty will please present a proposed decision and parameters and guidelines on stops, notification by peace officers, 24 TC 03.
Good morning again. These parameters and guidelines address state-mandated activities arising from Vehicle Code Section 2806.5, as added by the test claim statute, which requires a peace officer making a traffic or pedestrian stop before engaging in questioning about a criminal investigation or traffic violation, to state the reason for the stop, and also to document the reason on any resulting citation or police report, beginning on the statute's delayed operative date, January 1st, 2024. No substantive comments were filed on the draft expedited parameters and guidelines. Staff recommends that the Commission adopt the proposed decision and parameters and guidelines with the reimbursement period beginning January 1st, 2024, and authorize staff to make any technical, non-substantive changes following the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, would the parties and witnesses for item number 4 please state your name for the record?
Good morning. My name is Fernando Lemos. I am the claimant representative for the County of Los Angeles.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tiffany Walston, claimant representative for the County of Los Angeles.
Thank you so much. Mr. Lemus and Ms. Walston, for the claimant, County of Los Angeles, would you like to begin?
Yes, again, good morning. We're here to just say that we agree with the proposed parameters and guidelines. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Coming back then, let me bring it back to the commission. Are there any comments or questions on this item from commission members? Okay, seeing none. Is there any general public comment on this item? Seeing none in the room. Are there any online?
Madam Chair, I see no public comment.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me go ahead then and bring it back to the commission. If there is no further discussion, is there a motion to adopt staff's recommendation?
I'll move.
Moved by Ms. Gallegos. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Green Ross. If we could please have a roll call.
Mr. Adams.
Aye.
Ms. Gallegos.
Aye.
Ms. Green Ross. Mr. Polland.
Aye.
Ms. Peralt.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Great. Thank you so much. That motion carries. We'll now move on to our next item.
Thank you.
We now ask the presenters participating remotely for item 4 to please turn off their video and mute their microphones. Next is item 5. Senior Commission Counsel Laura Doherty will please present a proposed decision and parameters and guidelines on child physical abuse and neglect exams, 24 TC 05.
Good morning. These parameters and guidelines address state-mandated costs arising from Penal Code Section 11171F, as added by the test claim statute for child physical abuse and neglect exams when the child is eligible for Medi-Cal or Victim Compensation Board coverage. Reimbursement is not required to the extent the legislature appropriates funds for child physical abuse and neglect exams under Penal Code Section 11171G. No substantive comments were filed on the draft expedited parameters and guidelines. Staff recommends that the Commission adopt the proposed decision and parameters and guidelines with the reimbursement period beginning January 1st, 2024, and authorize staff to make any technical, non-substantive changes following the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe we were notified at the top of the meeting that there were no witnesses or parties to this item. But before I move forward, are there any other parties or witnesses that have come forward during that time period that would like to speak? If so, please state your names. Okay, seeing none. With that, let me bring this back then. Are there any comments or questions from the commission? Seeing none.
Madam Chair.
Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. Yes, Mr. Adams.
Just a comment that
Of
I
course.
was a no vote before and still disagree with our decision, but I will support this and we'll see what happens. Thanks.
Thank you. Duly noted, Mr. Adams. Appreciate that. Okay, we've seen no other further comments from commissioners. Is there any general public comment on this item? Seeing none in the room, is there any online?
Madam Chair, I see no public comment.
Okay, then let me go ahead and bring it back to the commissioners. Without any further discussion, is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation? Moved by Ms. Green Ross. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Powell. If we could please have a roll call.
Mr. Adams.
Aye.
Ms. Gallegos.
Aye.
Ms. Green Ross. Mr. Polland.
Aye.
Ms. Peralt.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Okay, thank you so much. That motion carries. We'll now go ahead and move on to the next item.
Next is item 6. We now ask the presenters participating remotely for item 6 to please turn on their video and unmute their microphones. Commission Counsel Anna Barich will please present a proposed decision and parameters and guidelines amendment on custody of minors, child abduction and recovery, 25 PGA 01.
Good morning. This parameters and guidelines amendment proposes changes to the parameters and guidelines for the custody of minors, child abduction, and recovery program. This program was originally approved by the Board of Control in 1979, with parameters and guidelines issued in 1981, and multiple amendments have occurred throughout the program's long history, most recently in 2009. The State Controller's Office requested this amendment, in which it asked that the Commission adopt a new decision on this program, add a previously removed reimbursable activity back to the list of reimbursable activities, renumber 2 existing reimbursable activities whose numbering had been changed in a previous amendment through clerical error, and to correct the list of previous amendment dates provided in the caption. Staff finds that the Commission does not have authority to issue a new decision on this program, as it was already decided on by the Board of Control, and none of the circumstances under which the Commission may issue a new decision on already decided program apply. Additionally, no evidence has been provided that district attorney costs of notifications sent if jurisdiction is refused is reasonably necessary activity for the performance of this program, and furthermore, is not required by current law. These 2 proposed changes should therefore be denied. However, renumbering the existing reimbursable activities clarifies the reimbursable activities, and including all previous amendment dates in the list provided in the parameters and guidelines caption is a non-substantive change that does not impact the parameters and guidelines itself. Staff therefore recommends approving these 2 proposed changes. Because these amendments simply clarify existing law and do not make any substantive changes to the program, they are effective for the entire period of reimbursement. Staff recommends that the Commission adopt this proposed decision, partially approving this parameters and guidelines amendment, and authorize staff to make any technical, non-substantive changes to the proposed decision following the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Would the parties and witnesses please state your names for the record for item 6?
Errol Marr on behalf of the State Controller's Office. We have no comments on this matter.
Okay. Hold on one second. So, Mr. Marr, let me just move on. Thank you for introducing yourself. As the requester for the State Controller's Office, you've indicated you have no comments. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you for that. With that, I'll bring it back to the commissioners. Are there any comments or questions from commissioners on this item?
I do have.
Ms. Gallegos, yes.
Madam Chair. Could you explain why I thought the way I read it was they were just asking, the Controller's Office was asking for something to be put back on the Ps and Gs as opposed to a new decision being made?
What they were asking for was a previous reimbursable activity that was in the parameters and guidelines up until 1999 be added back in. It was removed in 1999.
By the Commission?
Yes.
Okay.
And the record shows that it was an intentional decision, not a
Okay.
clerical error like
Okay.
the other change.
Great. Oh, sure. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. And then what was the second question that I had?
And then there was a second request for a new decision. So there were 2 separate requests. One to add that activity back and the second one to adopt a new decision.
Okay. Got it. Thank you. I think that's all the questions I have.
Okay, thank you so much. Any other questions from additional commissioners on this item? Okay, seeing none, are there any general public comments on item number 6? And I see none in the room. Are there any online?
Madam Chair, I see no public comment.
All right, thank you so much. Let me bring it back then to the commissioners. We do have a staff recommendation. Is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation or otherwise? I will go ahead and move the item. Is there a second?
Okay, I'll second the item.
Seconded by Mr. Polland. If we could please have a roll call.
Mr. Adams.
Aye.
Ms. Gallegos.
Aye.
Ms. Green Ross. Mr. Polland.
Aye.
Ms. Peralt.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Thank you so much. That motion carries. We'll now go ahead and move on to our next item.
We now ask the presenters participating remotely for item 6 to please turn off their video and mute their microphones. And next is item 7. We now ask the presenters participating remotely for item 7 to please turn on their video and unmute their microphones. And those presenting in person, please come to the table. Commission Counsel Anna Berich will please present a proposed decision on child abduction and recovery 24-4237-I-04.
Good morning. This incorrect reduction claim addresses reductions made to the County of Sacramento's claimed costs for implementing the Custody of Minors Child Abduction and Recovery Program during the audit period from July 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2019. This program was originally approved by the Board of Control in 1979, and it requires county district attorneys to actively assist in the resolution of child custody problems, including visitation disputes, the enforcement of custody decrees, and any other order of the court in a child custody proceeding. The parameters and guidelines state that the reimbursable activities include all actions necessary to locate a child, the enforcement of child custody decrees, orders to appear, or any other court order defraying expenses related to the return of an illegally detained, abducted, or concealed child, proceeding with civil court actions, and guaranteeing the appearance of offenders and minors in court actions. The claimant claimed costs for salaries and benefits, including related indirect costs, as well as materials and supply costs. The controller found that some of the claimed salaries and benefits costs were not based on the actual time spent on mandated activities, but were instead based on time spent on non-program specific activities that the claimant allocated to this program using a cost allocation methodology and recorded as SD time. It also found that the claimant claimed salaries and benefits costs for time spent on good cause cases classified under Penal Code Section 278.7, which the controller asserted was not reimbursable under the parameters and guidelines. For the materials and supplies costs, the controller found that the claimant claimed costs that were allocated to the entire unit that contained the child abduction program, rather than identifying and claiming actual costs for the mandated child abduction program. Staff finds that the controller's reductions related to salaries and benefits for SD time and materials and supply costs based on allocated costs are correct as a matter of law. These costs were not the claimant's actual costs for implementing the mandated program. However, the denial of costs for time spent on good cause cases is incorrect as a matter of law, and the controller's reduction of $32,276 for costs for those cases should therefore be reinstated. Staff recommends that the Commission adopt this proposed decision, partially approving this incorrect reduction claim, and authorize staff to make any technical, non-substantive changes to the proposed decision following the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, for item 7, with the parties and witnesses, please state your name for the record.
Chad Rindy, County of Sacramento.
Thank you.
Ken Howell, State Controller's Office.
Thank you so much. Mr. Rennie, for the claimant, County of Sacramento, would you like to begin?
Yes. Sacramento County appreciates the draft proposed decision reinstating the $32,276 in disallowed costs. That decision correctly recognizes that good cause child abduction cases are part of the mandated duties. While we'd hope for a different result regarding the other disallowed administrative costs, we understand the Commission's proposed decision. We thank the Commission and your staff time for reviewing our incorrect reduction claim.
Thank you. Mr. Howell, for the State Controller's Office, do you have any comments on this item?
Hi, good morning. We appreciate the Commission's time reviewing this IRC. We are currently in the process. First of all, we agree with the decision. We're currently in the process of amending the prior final audit report to reissue, including those the dollar amounts identified for the good cause cases as part of that reissued final audit. So we're in the process of doing that, and we'll have it out the door hopefully soon. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Howell. Are there, let me bring back the commissioners. Are there any comments or questions on this item?
I do have one question.
Yes, Ms. Gallegos.
So is it the fact that they were trying to allocate shared costs that was the crux of the issue?
Yes.
Okay.
They were claiming costs for non-program specific activities that were performed for the entire unit that under which this program was included. And then they were using a cost allocation methodology to determine the program share of those costs.
And is that not allowable under any of the P's and G's, or was it this one in particular?
It is allowable when it's actual costs for activities that are related to this program, but these were non-program specific activities.
Okay.
For example, the audit did note that the The claimant did something very similar for what they were calling program derivative activities, SD time or PD time. And what happened? So those were activities that were done for specifically for the child abduction program, but not for any specific cases.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
And those were allowed.
Thank you. Any other comments from commissioners or questions? Okay, seeing none. Let me bring it back. Are there any general public comments on this item? I see none in the room. Are there any online?
Madam Chair, I see no public comment.
All right, thank you so much. If there's no further discussion from the commissioners, is there a motion to to adopt staff recommendation or otherwise?
I'll move.
Moved by Ms. Gallegos. Is there a second?
I would second.
Lots of seconds. I'll go ahead and have Mr. Adams second. If we could please have a roll call.
Mr. Adams.
Aye.
Ms. Gallegos.
Aye.
Ms. Green Ross. Mr. Polland.
Aye.
Ms. Peralt.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Thank you so much. That motion carries. We will now move on to our next item.
We now ask the presenters participating remotely for item 7 to please turn off their video and mute their microphones. Those presenting in person, if you would please return to your seats. Next is item 8. Chief Legal Counsel Camille Shelton will present a proposed statewide cost estimate on California Regional Water Quality Control Board, San Francisco Bay Region, order number R2-2009-0074, 10 TCO2, 10 TCO3, 10 TCO5.
Good morning. This statewide cost estimate addresses the state mandated activities from the 2009 stormwater permit. The commission partially approved this test claim for the period of reimbursement from December 1st, 2009 through December 31st, 2017. This matter has been taken off the consent calendar because the city of San Jose filed substantive comments on the draft statewide cost estimate, specifically on assumption number 5 on PDF pages 19 and 20, addressing trash hotspot assessments. The city contends its costs have been excluded from the hotspot assessments, and it should be allowed to claim costs for this activity. As explained in the proposed statewide cost estimate, all costs claimed by the city of San Jose are included in the low-end statewide cost estimate of over $6 million, and thus all of the city's claimed costs are included in the statewide cost estimate. However, the city's costs are not included in the cost projection of over $17 million for possible late claims by non-filers. The test claim decision concluded that the activity to assess trash hotspots did not mandate a new program or higher level of service for any of the Santa Clara County permittees, which includes the city of San Jose, because that requirement was not new to them. Hotspot assessments were only approved as new state mandated activities for the San Mateo, Fairfield, Sassoon, Contra Costa, and Vallejo permittees. For purposes of the cost projection, the city of San Jose's costs were properly excluded as they represent statistical outliers that are not likely to be representative of costs to perform hotspot assessments by the non-filers. Staff recommends that the commission adopt the statewide cost estimate for the initial claim period that began on December 1st, 2009 and ends on December 31st, 2017. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe we were not made aware of any parties or witnesses to this item, but before I move on for consideration of this item, are there any parties or witnesses who have now come forward? I see none in the room. And I see none online. So with that, let me bring it back to the commissioners. Are there any comments or questions on this item? Okay, seeing none, let me ask if there is any general public comment on item number 8. I see none in the room. Are there any online?
Madam Chair, I see no public comment.
Okay, let me then go ahead and bring it back to the commissioners. Seeing no further discussion on this item, is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation or otherwise? Moved by Ms. Green Ross. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Polland. If we could please have a roll call.
Mr. Adams.
Aye.
Ms. Gallegos.
Aye.
Ms. Green Ross. Mr. Polland.
Aye.
Ms. Peralt.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Thank you so much. That motion carries. We will now move on to our next item.
Next, Program Office Technician David Chavez will please present item 10, the legislative update.
Good morning. The following are the legislative updates since the last time the commission met. AB 2640, Commission on State Mandates. AB 2640 was introduced by Assemblymember Hadwick with co-authors Assemblymembers Alanis and Ellis and Senators Niello and Sayarto. This bill amends Government Code Section 17558.6, which requires the controller to notify the claimant in writing within 30 days after issuance of a remittance advice of any adjustment to a claim for reimbursement that results from an audit or review. This bill would instead require the controller to notify the claimant in writing within 30 days of any adjustment that results from an audit or review. The bill would also require the controller to allow a local agency or school district, at the sole discretion of the local agency or school district, to offset any reduced reimbursement as prescribed, request an adjustment to the payment of claims, or to remit funds to the controller. On April 13, 2026, this bill was re-referred to the Assembly Committee on Education. On April 23, 2026, this bill was passed and was re-referred to the Assembly Committee on Appropriations with a recommendation to the consent calendar. On May 6, 2026, this bill was set for first hearing and was referred to the Assembly Appropriations Committee suspense file. On May 14, 2026, this bill passed. On May 18, 2026, this bill was read a second time and ordered it to third reading. Next, SB 414, School Accountability. Office of the Education Inspector General, School Financial and Performance Audits, Charter School Authorization, Oversight, Funding, Operations, and Networks, Flex-Based Instruction, Local Educational Agency Contracting. SB 414 was introduced by Senator Ashby. Among other amendments to the Education Code regarding charter schools, this bill amends Government Code Section 17518 and adds charter school to the definition of local agency as follows. Local agency means any city, county, special district, authority, charter school, or other political subdivision of the state. On March 2, 2026, this bill was stricken from the file and the governor's veto was sustained. Finally, AB 395 Holidays. AB 395 was introduced by Assemblymember Gabriel. This bill amends Government Code Section 11131, the Bagley-Keene Open Meeting Act. Among other things, this bill would require that a state agency shall make every reasonable effort to avoid conducting any meeting, conference, or other function on a date for which the state agency knows or has reason to know that members of the public would be unable to participate or be present due to the ritual observance of a religious, cultural, or ancestral holiday. There has been no new action on this bill. Staff will continue to monitor legislation for bills that impact the mandates process. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Next, Chief Legal Counsel Camille Shelton will please present item 11, the Chief Legal Counsel report.
Good morning. There's currently no litigation pending, so I have nothing to report.
Thank you, Camille. Next is item 12, the Executive Director's report. I have 4 information items for you. First, the office. Access to the office. On April the 8th, Commission staff lost access to its office due to a burst pipe and a fire in the office building. Commission office has not been damaged. As of today, electricity and internet services have been restored. Commission staff is projected to be back working in the office no later than June the 30th. The Attorney 3 recruitment. I am thrilled to announce that the Commission's latest recruitment for the Attorney 3 position was successful. Senior Commission Counsel Kevin Walco, please come to the table. It is my pleasure to introduce Kevin Walco, who joined our office on June 5th as our new Senior Commission Counsel. Mr. Walco has been an attorney for 13 years. He started at Best & Krieger and then joined the state, working at the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, where he promoted from staff attorney in the Office of Legal Affairs to the Office of Legislation, where he served as Chief of Juvenile Operations and then as Chief of Operations. He was most recently at the Office of Legislative Counsel. Mr. Walco graduated from McGeorge School of Law with distinction. Welcome to the commission, Kevin. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members. It's a pleasure to meet you all this morning. It's an honor to be able to contribute to the work of the commission, and I'm looking forward to working with you all in the future.
Thank you. The commission's budget. The governor's proposed 2026-2027 budget includes the commission's operating budget of $3.239 million and is broken down as $2.823 million for personal services and $416,000 for operating expenses and equipment. This is an increase of $28,000 from total appropriations for 2025-2026 after adjustments for salaries and benefits. The governor's budget also includes $91.21 million for local assistance or local agency mandated programs, a decrease of $2.893 million from the 2025-2026 budget. More details are available in the executive director's report. In addition, the commission has entered the portion of its lease where a free month's rent is no longer provided. The Assistant Executive Director put forward a request for a one-time budget increase of $20,000 to cover the lease payment for 2026-2027. It was heard on May 20th before the Assembly Budget Subcommittee number 5 and was a non-presentation item on the May 21st agenda for Senate Subcommittee number 4. As of today, the request remains pending. Workload. As of May 1, there are 36 pending test claims, 30 of which are regarding stormwater NPDES permits. In addition, there are 2 parameters and guidelines, 10 statewide cost estimates, 6 incorrect reduction claims, and 1 proposed amendment to parameters and guidelines pending. In addition, the commission has received 15 requests to initiate a joint legislatively determined mandate, or LDM, from rural county representatives of California. The LDM process allows any party or statewide association of claimants to make a request that the alleged mandate be pursued by a joint request to the legislature rather than through a test claim with the commission. While the request is not directed at the commission, staff track these because making the request tolls the statute of limitations for the filing of the test claim until the other party declines the LDM or until the date the Budget Act is adopted if the joint request is submitted to the legislature. Thus far, Finance has declined to pursue 6 of the 15 requests. Tentative agenda items. This is a reminder to please check the tentative agenda items on the Executive Director's report or the pending caseload documents on the Commission's website, which are updated at least bi-monthly to see when something is tentatively set for hearing. Draft proposed decisions on all test claims and IRC matters are issued for review and comment at least 8 weeks prior to the hearing date, and a proposed decision approximately 2 weeks before the hearing. And that's all I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much. First off, welcome, Kevin. Thank you. We're happy to have you join the team. Before we move on to closed session, which is our next action or next item, are there any comments or questions from commissioners on items 10, 11, or 12? Yes, Ms. Greenross, excuse me.
I assume your rent lease is covered. I cannot hear you. Your rent was, did you negotiate? Is it DGS that does your rent?
Yes, DGS is working on negotiating any kind of rent. We are still paying, but we are expecting credits in the new fiscal year.
I assume you were all good lawyers. You would get that. Thank you.
Great. All right. Thank you. Okay, seeing no further items, the commission will now meet in closed executive session pursuant to Government Code Section 11126E to confer with and receive advice from legal counsel for consideration and action as necessary and appropriate upon the pending litigation listed on the published notice and agenda, and to confer with and receive advice from legal counsel regarding potential litigation. The commission will also confer on personnel matters pursuant to Government Code Section 11126A1, and we will reconvene in open session in approximately 15 minutes. Thank you. Great, thank you so much. Okay, we are going to go ahead, the commission, and reconvene into open session. The commission met in closed executive session pursuant to Government Code Section 11126E to confer with and receive advice from legal counsel for consideration and action as necessary and appropriate upon the pending litigation listed on the published notice and agenda, and to confer with and receive advice from legal counsel regarding potential litigation. Commission also conferred on personnel matters pursuant to Government Code Section 11126AE. And with no further business to discuss, I will go ahead and entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Moved by Ms. Gallegos. Is there a second? I'll second. Okay, is there a roll call? Do we need a roll call? Yes.
Mr. Adams.
Aye.
Ms. Gallegos. Ms. Green Ross. Mr. Polland.
Aye.
Ms. Peralt.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
All right, thank you so much. That motion carries, and so the meeting is adjourned at 11:35. Thank you all.